Okay, hello. Uh, Now we're going to go through what I think markets will do today. It's Friday, and I'm not so sure if there is some important red folder news. We can check that out. Uh, forexfactory.com. Let's take a look at that. So yeah, there are no, no there are not really anything too important. So we should be fine at trading like any time without really concerning or being concerned about some type of news. What is this? Fed Powell speech, but that's May 19th. So should be fine. Okay. So I've already done some type of analysis here, and EU is kind of playing out to do that analysis already. So New York, sorry, London session is yet to open. So London session opens 10 a.m. my time, Eastern European Standard Time. Uh, so let's just start from here. EU, what are we doing here? Well, I would like to show you at first the divergence that we've created between EU and DXY. So obviously EU took out this high. Now let's keep our cursor there, and move to DXY. So you can see, um, the same high, the equivalent low here in DXY. It's not being swept, so there is big divergence in weekly here right now. So what does that mean? Um, that really means just that this high is probably inducing sells, and so we are in Friday week. We are having bullish week. We're probably going to close with some type of bigger wick in the weekly candle and going to see selling action today. Now, EU alone doesn't really tell me tell me the whole picture and the whole story, because if you look at the EU alone, first of all, you've got this low, then there is this low. Now these are equal lows, but this low is actually zero point 0.1 pips lower than this low. You can see it from the value that is here. uh, Whatever. So so now we have kind of equal lows, and the importance of these lows is that fact that these are a daily fair value gap. So the weekly is now giving you retracement. You have huge push in Wednesday. Realistically, you're probably going to see like a retracement into this fair value gap. Um, we need to also understand that often when this kind of situation happens, first of all, we know this already that we created SMT divergence. We swept a lot of liquidity. We created daily fair value gap. What else did we get? Well, the candle that created the fair value gap swept quite well this high, but then it still closed inside of this candle's the Wednesday candle's range. So what does that mean? That means that usually when these kind of things happen, the next day's candle is also going to sweep the previous day's candle. So in this kind of scenario, it's more likely for this low to get swept than this high, because we have closed inside of the range here, if you understand what I'm saying. So now theoretically we have already swept that, but that's so shallow sweep. We have a lot of range to go downside. So I'm just expecting market to like expand lower. But if you look at yesterday, what do we see here? We see chop, 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 chop. A lot of liquidity being built. Um, Yesterday, I marked this area. If I'm not mistaken, this is M30 fair value gap. I marked this area, and when New York opened here like this, I was expecting at this area market to shift in structure to go long. Now, obviously, I trade M5, and we did go long, and this could have been a good trade had market like built some type of structure to for me to enter from. But there was really no structure. Like, yeah, there is like a small fair value gap here that was mitigated, so that could have been your entry. But I don't. That's not my entry model, so I can't just participate like that. Um, I need like a clear break of structure, which never really happened. So my drawn liquidity was correct. My kind of direction and my directional understanding of the market was correct, but yeah, wasn't able to participate. Then, but then this is now decently good push to the upside. And what happens usually when you have good push to the upside, then chop, 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 chop. In this kind of when these kind of things happen, you can often see like a continuation with volume to the upside. And because we never really swept any of these highs yesterday, and at the end of the day, the long that I was anticipating from this area, yeah, it took out this high, but at the end of the day, it just kind of built more liquidity concerning these all of these highs here. So we have quite a lot of liquidity right now. So what the so yeah, now we have quite a lot of liquidity. Now the question really is, are you going to see that liquidity is going to be swept today? Because like solely looking at EU, you could see this as your break of structure to the upside. You could see this as your entry and go along. As it's happening right now, it's starting to go to the upside. But again, these like weekly SMT divergences, daily fair value gaps left open, equal lows being created. Uh, Now similar stuff happening in GU. GU, although didn't create equal lows, it kind of GU is failing altogether to go as deep as EU. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to do that. I still think that obviously you have to understand that you have these highs here, and so there's a lot of liquidity. So you shouldn't really close the possibility that it's going to push up and then take out this low. So you need to kind of uh, be careful with Friday. So so mainly be careful, follow the daily cycle. If market gives you like promising buy, then I would say that you can justify the buy. Similar stuff with the sell. Um, Ideally, you would sell now. Maybe you can't take the trade during London, but then New York could shift and give you long to these areas. That would kind of be the ideal plan, but we can't really say what EU is doing right now because we came to the area from which it's possible that you are going to see a shift if it's bullish. But the overall structure kind of makes me feel the bullishness. Obviously, you can see that the problem is this sell side liquidity not being really swept there. So we are kind of in a mixed scenario where you would ideally want to see this being swept before you are taking longs. And you also need to understand that if it's looking massively bearish, we can't close the chance of market just stabbing deeper here. So obviously you have massive order block here, but sometimes if market is truly bearish, it doesn't really give a fuck about these order blocks and so on. So, and because the daily fair value gap is massive, yeah, just like be careful, try to stay true to your rules. And what EU is doing right now is like, okay, if the London, like let's say Asia that did this, yeah, but then in this region it can just consolidate it. London Open swept the Asia low, took out these, and then shifted in structure. This would be like textbook long from this kind of fair value gap to long. I would be so happy to take something like this. But now, at the end of Asia, we kind of pushed heavily to the upside, and now we are inside of the range. And you know, you can't get the fear of missing out because there's a chance that you push heavily now. There's also the chance that you reject from this area and give you the long later, or then you just don't get the long altogether. You just don't get it, and that can also happen. So don't try to force anything. We are in Friday, and so in Friday we might not get the volume that you want always. So just you need to be careful in this kind of scenario because you have sell side decent amount in here. You have bearish divergence in weekly, but you also have bullish divergence in this kind of shorter time frame scenario between like, because theoretically again this low did sweep this low with like zero point 0.1 pip. So that is theoretical SMT divergence with the GU. I'm not so sure what DXY did. Let's see. So DXY did sweep that high with a little bit, I would say, bigger intention. So that is, so we are seeing some type of divergence in weekly bearishly in this kind of shorter time frame structure. We are seeing some type of bullish divergence. We are seeing sell side being built, equal lows, daily fair value gap uh, that should be mitigated. Daily structure also, daily candle suggest in the EU that you could be willing to push a little bit deeper into this area. But then Thursday's price action left all these highs open, and you are kind of having some type of idea that maybe it's going to long to these highs, and then you're going to miss out on this. So how I in what kind of conclusion would I come into this and come with this is that you could justify both longs and shorts. um Either of those could play out, but I cannot take either without kind of being sure with my conviction. So uh, especially right now in the middle of age range, I just cannot participate into anything. Not This is not my type of setup. You know what I'm saying? So maybe London is just kind of building a little bit more liquidity, maybe, and hopefully it takes out the sell side, and then prints nice buy setup, long setup during New York. That's kind of what I'm hoping, but we cannot take anything right now. That's the main thing in here. So the biggest problem really is that we are middle of the age range. Because if we were high in the Asia range, taken out the Asia high, and then gave like a good break of structure to the downside. In this kind of scenario, you would easily be able to go short. But this kind of scenario where you are in the middle of Asia range, nah, bruv, you like I just can't take anything here, and it's kind of annoying. But mostly trading is about um, waiting for your setup to play out, and I'm just happy if my analysis is correct. Obviously, it kind of has to be because um, my analysis basically was that we can shoot to the upside, we can shoot to the downside, or give you downside, shift to the upside, or other way around. So really, kind of what this tells you is that kind of anything could happen. So in this kind of scenario, you kind of have to wait for things to happen, things to play out, and then you start to eliminate the chances. So let's say you now sweep the Asia high, then immediately you can eliminate this scenario and this scenario. So then when you sweep the Asia high, now you really have to ask the question: Are you going to like long harder, or are you going to see the shift? So then you just continue looking at the structure, maybe wait for the New York, see if you get like a good break of structure. If you don't get that, then you can maybe even look to get into continuation longs, uh, depending on the scenario. So you just kind of have to see all the chances, then start to eliminate um, when eliminate those possibilities of market playing out when price starts to unveil itself. Yeah, right now, no trade for me.